Aloha guys, it's GRTV. We're walking through a pleasant, quiet residential area. I do want to express a general concern I have. I feel like I've transcended a major societal issue where people name each other the role of this hierarchical structure of, be it, son, mother, be it nephew, uncle, because when you label somebody that, and it's more than a name, people say uncle or whatever. It's not a name. The person's name is whatever their first and last name are. It's a role, and when you label somebody that, it implies somebody has some type of a higher knowledge or wisdom or authority. Terms like elder, pastor, boss, even boss. I don't label people boss that I do work with. And notice that with, I don't say I work for people. I work with people, and I choose people based upon the fact that they are a supervisor. Like, okay, and even if they may not see it, they may see it as they are hiring me. I see it as I'm hiring them as a supervisor or as a business expert. If, for example, I'm working directly with the owner of the company, I'm hiring them, and I'm maybe playing a role of just a simple laborer. But as long as I have a general understanding of what the duties that I expect of them to fulfill are, then I am, in a way, they're equal, because I'm fairly exchanging whatever it is, whatever rate of pay for whatever energy. And I'm not saying that things are always a fair exchange, but what I am saying is, if it's the best situation that you can, get, then great. Go for it. Have that as a, shall we say, an equality, if you will, or it's like, my money. Money isn't better than whatever the degree of work that is being exchanged. For example, the money is equivalent to it. Whatever and like I said, you may not think it's fair. It's a fair situation, but it's the best situation you can get. So if you think you're being treated unfairly, it's not a best working place environment, but it's the best alternative. If, for example, some poor woman wants to try to seduce some guy who, an older rich guy, then maybe that's the best situation she can come up with in order to survive. Now, it's different if she has a fairly comfortable existence, but then she still wants to get more money. But it's to the individual. That's why I like America, in the sense that there are associated freedoms with what people can do. So these are some of my thoughts, but I really want to encapsulate this concern of the idea of labeling somebody the role of parent. It's not useful to anyone. It's actually better if you call each other equals, be it friend or be it I use the term spiritual family. The spiritual family doesn't have father and son. Spiritual family has equals, people playing the role of either brother or sister. And I also use the term dream team, which I substitute for spiritual family, but I think you get the idea. It's a person that you it's a person that you consider to be an equal, and you can treat each other accordingly, not whether you're just friends, whether you're just, or whether it's more, whether you share enough values to where you'd be willing to call each other like a dream team. That's the term I use, spiritual family. The point being that you can better help each other out. If if you label each other something else, then you end up like father son. You end up where one person has the burden of responsibility for the other, be it emotional, financial, or otherwise. And it's an unhealthy existence, and I think it also contributes to death. The idea of saying that, oh, you're a grandfather or great grandfather or whatever, it's not. It makes people seem like they're older, when in reality, I think people, if they adopted some of my philosophy here, they would actually, it would be a positive influencer towards them not aging. So these are my considerations. A nice palm up there. Then we get the nice night sky, moon. So the point being, and another fun point I want to just throw out there is, you won't feel badly if you actually, for poor people, if you actually take action. There are people who talk, and then there are people who take action. And it's great to talk and present revelatory information, like, I talk about this Magrav machine, or I talk about the DreamMate. But it's another to just to talk about it and actually take steps towards it every day. Like, I'm saving up to, I'm gonna buy a little tester that'll test the amount of volts and that comes out to test the machine out. And the same goes with whatever you're into. If you're saying like, oh, the government's corrupt, then just look at ways to improve it. Look at, legislation that you might be able to write. So that's on a side note, but the main tangent of what I'm suggesting here, guys, is that it's more useful. Like, the reason that I used to hate myself or be disrespectful towards myself was because I labeled people as an authority, like parent or whatnot. And not only is it unpleasant, rebellion teens, because they're labeling somebody as authority, but it's also, especially if you don't like the person, then you're even more prone to engage in self-destructive behavior, because the person you label your authority, you don't like. So in your mind, that is you. That authority is you, and so you'd rather be self-destructive than have anything to do with that. So yeah, label each other as guardians, as equals, as playing a role, and that I think is true love. Love, to say that you love somebody just because they're biologically or legally related to you, or they're more, it's just a moral obligation if you have a child to raise them up. But that's a business activity. It's not love. Love is commitment to correspond to similarly shared values and lifestyle preferences. That's love. It's commitment, and you can't have that unless you're an adult. So once it gets to a point where you're old enough to figure your life out, maybe you can be friends or dream teammates with the people who raise your legal biological relatives, if they are somehow how do I say this? If they're somehow legal biological relatives, if you want to live in the same house as them, then maybe you can make an agreement that maybe you'll pay for the rent when you can afford it, or owe them money in the future, but just contribute to the house instead of wanting them to support you. You know what I mean. You don't put that burden, and the same goes with elderly people. They wouldn't burden somebody they loved for helping to take care of them if they're completely incapacitated, and it's a burden. It's an unfair burden. You don't do that to somebody you love. That's why I believe in suicide, and I think people, if they really believed in reincarnation, they'd be much more comfortable with the idea. But I think that's enough for now. Till next time, aloha.